Happy New Year! Welcome back to Problematic Women. I feel like
it's so bad.
Guys, I'm so happy to be here with all of you guys, and all of you viewers. Thank you so much for deciding to start out your first Saturday of the new year of 2026 with us. We have so much to talk about. We're going to autopsy 2025 for the country and, quite frankly, ourselves, and what you can look forward to this year in 2026. Midterms, America 250, the Olympics, all of it. We have it right here for you on the first Problematic Women of the year.
Happy New Year! Cheers.
Welcome back to Problematic Women. I'm Elise McHugh.
I'm Virginia Allen. I'm Morgan.
And I'm Isabel.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Woohoo! Happy New Year.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like we need to start out with some of the fails from
I really do think.
2025.
Start out at the bottom.
I liked the word autopsy. That was good.
Autopsy of the year.
That was
Reflect, I don't know, depending on how your New Year went. Okay, so actually, let's start with you, Virginia.
Oh,
what is something?
Call me out.
Yeah.
How did you screw up in 2025?
Your fails.
No, because I feel like in 2025, I had some very lofty goals for myself because I never do the
Always.
New Year's resolutions. And then I was
You
like,
never do?
No, because I thought they were corny and I like to be different growing up. And then I was like, you know what? Self-improvement is not corny. So actually, I'll start out. This isn't really self-improvement. I just thought it was something that would be cool to do. In 2025, I wanted to watch more movies. I am a chronic movie rewatcher.
Okay.
I'm just like, why would I spend 2 hours and then be disappointed at the end? I love the tried and true classics.
Oh, I am the opposite. I'm like, if I've seen it, we're good.
So I really tried to get into my Letterboxd account, which is where you can like list all the different things. It's like
that.
a Goodreads for movies. And then you'll just see on every other movie I logged, it says already watched, already watched, already watched. So I kind of failed with that regard in expanding my horizons.
It's
but
okay. We forgive you.
We have
I like that
2026. Yeah.
There is a new year.
All right, Virginia.
Okay,
You're up.
so I'll talk more about this later on. I love setting New Year's resolutions, goals more so. And I had lofty goals of getting back into running in 2025. I ordered new shoes.
Okay. That's the first step.
That's the first step. So I got
say
some
myself
real cute running shoes. Did they get worn in too much? No, they didn't. But there is a new year. There is hope.
Amen.
You know, just speed walk around the National Mall.
There you go. I might want to try rucking this year.
Oh, that's fun.
Walking
That's fun.
with weights.
Yep.
So we're going
Okay.
to try that
That's
out.
like all over my TikTok For You page. It is like the thing for moms
It
to
is
get the
the
weighted
thing.
vest and push the stroller and do
Yeah.
your thing. So
I'm
there
here
you go.
for it.
Maybe
Let's
spring
go.
2026.
Amen. Amen.
All right, what about you all? 2025 fails.
So 2025, I feel like I accomplished most of my goals
Good for you.
except for working out every day.
Yeah, same. Yep.
You were busy, you know, getting married,
Getting married,
pregnant.
being engaged. Like my entire year was just like consumed with like planning wedding, getting married, and then finding out we're having a baby. So it's like all yay happy things. But yeah, the working out every day and like getting 10K steps did not happen. And that was something I really wanted to do. It's funny, last year, 2024, my goal was to run a marathon or like a 5K or something. Not a marathon. Like I would never. Like that's what you're
That's a pretty lofty goal.
Well, like to like run. Yeah, I also bought running shoes, and they're still in my closet from 2 years ago. But you
We'll
know,
get there.
they come out for the walks.
Maybe
Yes,
we
but you're
can
always
hold
at
each other accountable.
Pilates. You are a Pilates
That's true.
queen.
Yeah,
I see it on your
Pilates
Instagram all the time. So you
Not
are
with
working
baby,
out. Yeah.
but we're gonna get there again.
You will. You will.
we'll get there.
I would say that was probably my biggest fail as well. I set out with this very lofty goal, knowing I was going to have my daughter in the spring, that like by the end of the year, I was going to be shredded again. Everything was going to be great. Lo and behold, 2 days before I had my daughter, I got the call to have this new show that was launched in the fall, and we moved, and my husband got a new job, and everything was going on all at the same time. So we got a lot done this year, just not necessarily the one thing I really set out to do. But that's
Isla turns 1 next year. You have plenty of time.
That's crazy. She's already 7 months old. At the time we're having this conversation, she'll be 9 months old by the time this episode airs. So that's really crazy.
That
I
is
know.
so insane.
I know.
That is really wild. Okay, so lots of big things coming in 2026. Are you all people that at the beginning of the year, are you all pulling out the notebook,
Oh, yeah.
writing down the goals?
Yes, this is like a ritual in my
I
family
wanna
that
hear
I
your
grew
ritual.
up in.
Tell me
Every
about
New
this.
Year's Eve, we all sit down and we
What does the
all
Brown
talk
family
about
do?
what we did the previous year, and then we all set goals for the new year. But my husband and I, when we first met, we started kind of separating personal goals versus professional goals. And so on New Year's Eve, we'll snuggle up in bed, just the two of us, and we'll talk about all the great things that we did that year. But then we'll also say, okay, professionally, I know I really want to accomplish this in 2026, and I really personally want to accomplish this in 2026, or whatever year we're talking about. I don't call them resolutions so much. I think that has kind of a negative connotation of like chastising yourself for the last year.
resolution?
But instead, just like really clear goal setting. I write it down on a piece of paper. I tack it up in my home office at home, and I look at it all year. So we try. But mostly they're like fun things, like visit a new national park or check off a new state off of our list or something like that.
Nice.
Fun goals.
I really love that. That's so good. How about you all?
I would say that I don't really again, I never really set the New Year's resolutions growing up because I wanted to be different and I thought it was corny. But self-improvement, not corny. So this year, my New Year's resolution that I have honestly been working on, but I think saying it here, writing it down, making
We're
a concerted
going on the
effort.
record.
We're going on the record.
Let's hear it.
And I
The
think it's very
goals.
important. I want to deepen my prayer life and my
so
theology
good.
knowledge
that.
because as we've seen over the past year, we have been in such a time of spiritual warfare. We've said that term so much, and it's so true. And it's only gotten worse over the past few weeks. You'd think at the end of the year, everyone's very jolly, happy, but no, everyone has really cranked up the heat, cranked up the rhetoric, and I just feel like the best way that I can be a great soldier of God is to go out there, know my stuff, know not just a Bible verse or two, but like here's what St. Thomas Aquinas said, and here is what this like Father Maichet said, and all this kind of stuff, because I don't want to sound like an airhead when trying to defend what's good and true.
I love that. That's a really,
so
really
good.
good goal.
Very
really
admirable.
good goal.
Cheers to that.
Amen. Cheers to that.
See, I've also never been one to like write down, this is what I'm going to do this year. Like this last year, it was my yes year. I wanted to say yes to a lot of things, like newly moving to DC with the year before that. Like there was just a lot going on within the last 12 months. So this next year, I really want to actually say no a little bit more.
That's a good goal. I like
Is
that.
I would say like my goal, because I've never really set goals, but with that, it's like my life is now changing so much. And it's like, okay, how can I prepare for motherhood? And that is equipping myself with just faith and prioritizing family and learning to be the best mom that I can be. Because he's coming like halfway through the year. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to prepare for that? And then leading into newborn phase to 6 months, like I'm like, okay, I just want to be prepared. So that means saying no and prioritizing my faith and family.
So good. I love it.
My goals.
I have a tradition that I love and look forward to every year because I take a weekend at the beginning of the year, usually MLK weekend, and I rent a cabin and I go and I unplug and I like journal through the past year and just spend a weekend in prayer and set goals for the new year. It's
love
like the best thing
And it's
ever.
just you?
It's just me in nature. Plus, I'll go like antiquing.
That's very Taylor
usually.
Swift folklore of you.
Thank you.
Plus prayer, because I'm sure she wasn't really doing that.
Yeah,
today.
that's fair enough. Take notes, Taylor. But it's great. I think just to like clear your head. And I do the categories as well. So I have like the professional goals, spiritual goals, relational goals, travel goals. And initially when I started doing that, I would have like 4 under each. And I have slowly reduced it to like 1 or 2 under
Yeah,
each.
it's more
because
realistic. Yeah.
Life
More
is
attainable.
wild and crazy. But so I'm
love
in, I guess,
that.
2 weeks I'm doing that. So I'm very excited for it.
Okay,
Yay.
wait. So we need to follow up then on
Yes.
this last year because, okay, I assume you did this last year.
I did.
2025.
How'd you do?
How did you do this year? What are, if you want to share some of the goals?
Yeah, so I would say I'm about 50% success rate, which is
Okay.
pretty average for me.
Yeah.
So I take that as a win. I had goals to travel. I had goals to expand and push myself a little bit more professionally, building relationships with some awesome people in Washington, D.C. That was great. And then there were some awesome unexpected, I wouldn't say they were my goals, but wins. Like I became an aunt in 2025. So I think as far as like those relational side, being really intentional with people in my church, that was one thing that was like a great success, I guess, for 2025.
Good wins.
So yeah, but highly recommend categories because it breaks it down and makes it feel a little
Maybe
bit more
I'll do that.
attainable.
Absolutely. And I feel like in 2025, we can autopsy not just ourselves, like I said before, but the country.
The country.
How do you guys think America did in 2025? You know, Trump was back for an entire year. What what went wrong, what went right. A lot went right, a lot went interesting.
We started off on a high note.
Yes,
January 2025, Inauguration Week, I know here
That
in
feels like
DC.
yesterday. Can I just say that?
It really
does
does.
not feel like it's been a whole year.
This
since
year,
like-
I genuinely just think this is like the fastest year of my life. I think just so much politically, personally, worldly, everything has been happening. But I think the year started off on like the highest of high notes, at least for conservatives.
Yeah, amen.
And we got to party it up and have so much fun in DC and
did.
celebrate inauguration, what felt like month. Like it wasn't even just like inauguration day, it was inauguration month with all the different soirees and balls and things. And now I feel like we're still riding that. Like even, White House Christmas parties that have been going on, having Thanksgiving, like ending the year also on, I would say, a pretty high note. With all of like legislation and things that have happened, obviously government shutdown was probably a low note in the country. But with all the ebbs and flows, I feel like this year politically has been a pretty good one.
Yeah, I feel weird saying simultaneously it's been a really amazing year and also a really terrible year at exactly the same time. And obviously, I think the thing that's sitting with people like Morgan and I more heavy than anything else from last year is the death of Charlie. And I don't know how that will continue to feel going into 2026 and the implications that's going to have on the culture and the politics of the country. It completely rocked our world as individuals and people
Changed
who knew him.
everything.
But I also think it changed the world forever. Like we all said to each other, the day after it happened, the world is not going to be the same again. This is like a 9/11 life-changing, culture-changing moment. And so I am curious to see how all of that continues to implicate the midterm elections this year and just the changing demographic of right versus left politics. But at the same time, there were like 8 million wins from the right this year. So I'm really happy with all of that. It's just a very odd, like melancholy feeling.
I feel like
if
it's
that
almost
makes
like
sense.
an emotional low with Charlie and a lot of the tragedies that have happened. I mean, even the woman who was murdered on the bus.
Yeah.
Like there's just been like a lot of heavy tragedies happening in our country
It was like one
emotionally.
after another back in August and
Yeah.
September.
But then also riding like the political highs with it all. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like, honestly, the death of Charlie Kirk was one of the most tragic days I can remember to date, professionally, personally. Just it really shakes you to your core when you see how willing people are to celebrate the death of someone who had maybe even less radical views than you. And I think that was a moment where the Republican Party really just like sucked back in, looked and like refocused. But then we saw after that all the infighting and all of the really petty nonsense that went on. So that was a low politically for our side and
I think just for everyone.
for
period.
everyone
Yeah.
especially. So that is, if I had to give the Republican Party a New Year's resolution, it's like, get it together, recognize who the actual enemy is. It's not each other, and let's not fan those flames of division because it's good, clickable, gets you a lot of money. It's like there are people out there that still want to celebrate you or celebrate your podcaster dying, celebrate your death if it happened to you. We saw that.
Or want you to.
We saw that in the last weeks of December with the really disgusting comments that people made at Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk when he can't defend himself when she was going on her book tour. So we really need to just refocus in 2026. And that's going to be the thing that drives us really through midterms to a win. If we just stop hating each other.
I
And I
wholeheartedly
think
agree.
out of that, I'll say I feel like the American people, by and large, had the best response because I think the trolls across social media with every tragedy, especially with Charlie Kirk, that was kind of seeing the worst of humanity. And then we looked at response on so many college campuses where students came together to pray, and there was almost, and we talked about it on the show in 2025, that we have seen a little bit of a resurgence of family values, of traditional values, of loving America. I have so much hope for Gen Z. Like they're really picking up this momentum, and I think a call back to the values that we were founded on, back to Christian values. And I'm optimistic that maybe we can carry that even more so into 2026. And I think increasingly that our leaders will also be championing that.
Yeah, I think it's
Absolutely.
interesting to bring this back to your goal of spiritual depth and revival for all of this, Elise. I think we're watching the evil get louder, but we're also watching the good get louder. And that's why you feel this tug of war every single day.
darkness,
I'm not like a numerology person whatsoever. I do not understand understand all the rabid Taylor Swift fans that are like, 13 means this, and
13
there are
plus
7
87.
things in the background, and 8,000. I don't get it. But I will say, next year for numerology people is kind of a really significant year in church history, in American history. Certainly, it's our 250th birthday, which I know we're going to be talking about. I didn't know it's also the 400th anniversary of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, which is really interesting. So hugely significant for the Vatican. We're certainly approaching the 2000th anniversary of Christianity and of the church. And so I feel like we're kind of on this precipice of the good needing to get a lot louder and good people being willing to use their voice and speak up and drown out a lot of that evil, like the light beating darkness thing, now more than ever before. Certainly for our country, from a more secular perspective too, that 250 years is the average length of time that an empire rises and falls throughout all of human history.
Wow.
And here we are at our 250th birthday.
No pressure, America.
No pressure.
Are we
Don't mess
rising
this up.
or falling?
Are we rising, falling? Are we going to continue to survive after this? I think a lot of that depends on this generation's ability to stand up and keep fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. What
No
do you think-
pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. So then to that end, what are the goals that the United States, that our leaders, that Congress, that the president needs to be setting for 2026?
Ooh.
To keep the country alive.
Don't let Jasmine Crockett into the Senate. That's my goal.
Good one. That's
Good
pretty
one.
good.
Texas, you have your marching
Winning the
orders.
midterms, like please winning the midterms. I honestly think that there has been this emphasis post Charlie Kirk's assassination on Gen Z. You know, we've seen the resurgence even of Turning Point USA growing exponentially across the country. I really think that the conservatives, that the Republican Party needs to pour more resources into fostering Gen Z's education and talking to them as real people and not just like a figment of, Gen Z will figure it out, housing costs, the economy. Like, they really have real world issues that they're dealing with. And I think that it's the sooner the better that conservatives actually address Gen Z head on and realize how much of an asset these young men who are coming to conservatism and coming to Christianity above everything, how important that is and vital it is for the success in the future of our country. You know, are we going to rise or are we going to fall? I think if we want to continue rising and actually just fostering the next generation, that is going to be prioritizing Gen Z.
Absolutely. And to that end, I think one of the goals I would love to see in 2026 of the country and of the conservative Christian movement especially, how are we going to crack the code for appealing to young Gen Z women specifically and millennial women too, because we really, again, we've talked
Thanks for remembering us.
we've
Elise.
we've talked about this a lot. It's very easy
the
for
elder.
men in these days to really hop on board with conservatism because everything about our society tells you that you're not allowed to be a man, be inherently male. True. But society is so feminine and it's so comfortable to be a secular woman. So how are we going to appeal?
I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest. I don't think it is easy to be a woman's woman today.
Well, I don't think it's easy to be a secular woman today, but it feels like it. It's like the candy.
I think in the echo chambers it is. Being someone who's going to have a baby, I have already had people questioning so much. Are you going to be a stay-at-home mom? Are you going to be a working mom? Like,
And you're judged either way.
You're judged, like, there really is no winning whether you do one or the other. And I think if we can get to a point where stay-at-home moms are not shamed for making that decision, then I think you can be a woman.
Or just like women being encouraged to be women. Like I'm
That
just
too,
so
yeah.
tired of our culture constantly trying to hyper masculinize the women's experience. And look at Gen Alpha, right? As they're starting to come up right now, we're looking past Gen Z. They're literally just being told by all of their guidance counselors, their summer camp counselors, their trusted adults in life, their doctors, the only way to really affirm yourself is actually to just never be a woman. And who wants to be a woman anyway, because the whole experience sucks. And so I think you're right, Elise, if we can create this narrative of almost rebranding womanhood to a beautiful
Femininity.
experience and allowing women to experience the depth and the gift that it is to be unique from men.
Exactly.
That's going to be a huge win for
It definitely
2026.
needs some PR rebrand
Yes.
because I think it was really exciting. And we talked about this a lot at the beginning of 2025. We saw the rise of like the milkmaid dress, the baking the
Yes.
sourdough ballerina
those dresses.
farm.
Bring it
It
back.
was so exciting, but now it's like a lot of people, even conservatives, are kind of tired of that, even though there's nothing wrong with it. So it's like, how are we going to appeal to women in more than just saying, trust me, you'll like it. Like, trust me, you'll like being a stay-at-home mom. Trust me,
Right.
this is actually better than what you're doing. Because that hasn't worked with
Well,
us.
it's finding the balance too, because I mean, even in the polls, you see that women would rather still, to this day, go and get a job and be financially independent and stable on their own before finding a boyfriend, fiance, you know, and getting married and having children. Where a man, their priorities do lie at providing and wanting to start families, but it's the women in this country who aren't there yet. And I think that is something, even if we can have a political push on women of like, hey, these are the benefits of just like embracing womanhood. Like, you don't need a full-time job and you don't need to work your whole life. Like, motherhood is beautiful.
Or you can, right?
I mean, you can do both.
The Wall Street Journal came to our house a few weeks ago and did a whole panel on, or a whole profile on my family about how I'm juggling very, very full-time work. Like, I do not get a break and being a full-time mom. And I think it's just an awesome opportunity for us to speak to women to realize that there has to be a greater purpose to your life than just your bank account and going to sit in a cubicle for the rest of your life and working your way up the corporate ladder.
Exactly.
And this might be a hot take, but honestly, I think the only way that we can really change the minds of an entire generation of women is God. And I'm really encouraged, frankly, to see the messaging coming out of the White House, from the government at large, really from every pillar of our culture, kind of on accident, reorienting our compass back towards Jesus Christ. I mean, just a few weeks ago on the feast day of the Immaculate Conception, Donald Trump put out a really poignant, profound statement about Mary, who is like the perfect archetype of a perfect woman, right? And he walked through this entire beautiful story of who Mary is and what she means to Christianity, and ended it with the Hail Mary prayer from the White House on White House letterhead. And men have had, me neither, honestly. Men have had this resurgence of biblically based values because of people like Charlie Kirk and Jordan Peterson and Michael Knowles and all these people for years and years. Women really haven't had that. And so I think as long as we can continue reorienting our culture at large back towards biblical Christianity, I'm really excited to see the fruits that
They just need to
provides.
tune into Prom Medical.
Amen.
We chat about it here all the time.
Well, as you're talking, I'm thinking about like that in a nutshell in so many ways is men and women seeing the value in each other and the value of what they bring to the table. Because we think about, okay, in the garden, Adam and Eve, what happened instantly after the sin? It's their fault. It's the pointing. It's the blame game. And I think throughout all of history, we see this over and over of men and women at odds. There's animosity that the enemy has created and put between man and woman. And so the more and more we say, okay, Father, how do we recognize God, the beauty that women bring to the table, the beauty that men bring to the table, and call that out, then that creates that ability to lean on one another and be comfortable with, okay, maybe in this season of life, it's the man that's going to be the breadwinner, or maybe in this season of life, it's the woman that's going to be like, and I think just recognizing like the differences, the giftings, the talents that men and women generally have, but then also me individually within relationship have, that's something to be celebrated instead of a competition. It's removing the competition out
I think
of it.
the larger point that I hope everybody can pay attention to, and if anyone important has to be watching this today, you happen to be watching this, I think the goal for 2026, especially because it is so poignantly our 250th anniversary as a country, birthday, whatever we want to call it, A250, which I love, is to revive the American dream, period. How do we make it possible for people to want to fall in love and get married? How do we make it possible and financially accessible for people to have as many kids as they possibly can and rebuild the American family? How can we help young people afford homes and have stable careers and invest in their education? The things that matter to giving back to society at large that start with the most stable foundation of the family unit, that's what we have to be fighting for. And that can look like 8 million different things in tax policy and foreign policy and the economy and education. Hopefully we'll finally get rid of the Department of Education this year. I'm very hopeful. Knock on wood. We'll see. But that has to be the compass, the North Star, the underlying hypothesis of everything that we are talking about moving forward.
Absolutely.
Restore the American family. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Isabel, to that end, you just had, as you mentioned, this great interview
With the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, it was awesome. It was.
Last year. Obviously, there's a lot of, well, me included, but I feel like there's a lot of babies that are coming in 2026, which is such a beautiful thing. I'm really hoping that there is like this conservative baby boom that is happening, which I see it, so I think it's real. what is your advice for 2026 mothers,
Oh my gosh.
motherhood, balancing of like going and doing your career while also being a full-time mom? How did you do it? Give us some advice.
Oh my gosh. Well, first and foremost, I always like to say this on our own show too, because I think it's important to bear repeating. I am not a parenting expert. The only thing I have learned about parenting is there are no experts, and we kind of just figure it out day by day. So I've been told by even people my parents' age and older, you kind of feel like that for the rest of your kid's life, to be honest with you, that every day is like a new learning experience.
Not my mom.
Not your mom. She is an expert.
She's like, I
good
am
work,
the expert.
Elise. Good brownie points on the show today.
She lets me know that she's perfect at parenting me.
Awesome. I love that. But I think the biggest things is just knowing that you have so much already baked into you that you're going to be so shocked you already know by the time your baby gets here. I was so surprised learning that in the first few weeks that within a matter of days, I could recognize when my daughter was crying, okay, she's hungry, she needs a new diaper, she's tired, she's overstimulated, she's whatever. To this day, my husband is like, why is she angry? Why is she screaming at me? But I can tell you exactly what is going on. Just the immediate emotional connection with your child is unlike anything you will ever experience. So take the time, really take the time to isolate yourself from the world a little bit and just be right there with you and your baby, because there is no feeling like that. And in terms of the balancing everything, your job and traveling and going to see your family and all of these things, bring your baby with you. I have never understood this idea that all of a sudden your life is over because you have a kid. My daughter's a very frequent flyer, we'll put it that way. And she does a really, really great job. But I'm also just getting constant feedback from people, whether it's at a press conference or we're at the airport or we're at the White House. People are always like, wow, your baby does so well traveling with you. I can't believe you have the courage to bring your baby everywhere.
Takes practice.
It does. It takes practice. And I think we need more of that in society, to be honest with you, because part of the reason I think that young women aren't oriented so much towards family life is they're not seeing families out in the world. Somebody tweeted this the other day, and it's been rattling around in my head for a while, but basically that society is intentionally depriving us of baby fever because no one sees babies anywhere. So when you do, it's this like anomaly, shock, wow factor, and everyone goes, oh my gosh, your baby. Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
I truly believe that America is like right now not really in this like super pro family place. Like we were saying, we need to restore the American family, but there isn't a lot of family accessibility. Like when you're at the airport, for example, and you see parents struggling with the stroller, how many other strangers do, let me help you with that. Do you need, can I hold your baby? Like, can I help you fold the stroller? Like whatever it is, like there really is like this like, babies are so annoying.
All the time.
My flight. Like, that's a baby. Like it's not geared, like our society has gotten to this place where it's like children have become more of an annoyance than a blessing. And I think that also has to do with like a lot of the pro-abortion movement and just not
we're too sterile.
actually looking at children as the gifts from God. So I love what you're saying, because like that's something even how I was raised with my mom. She was like, well, I took you guys everywhere.
We went
like,
everywhere. My mom,
just go.
when I was in 6th grade, so my middle sister would have been in 4th grade, my youngest sister would have been in 1st or 2nd grade. She's probably 7 maybe years old. My mom's company had a case that they argued at the Supreme Court down the street. And we all went to the actual oral arguments. We were the only kids at the Supreme Court, and I will never forget the 2 younger ones fell asleep, so they were sleeping the whole time. But looking over in the Supreme Court of the United States, watching the 9 justices and doing all of this back and forth arguments, and my sister's sleeping next to me, and all these annoying, stuck-up lawyers rolling their eyes that somebody brought their kid. But I'm so grateful that I had those experiences as a child, and I think it encouraged me to dream a lot bigger. So as a mom, 2 moms who are expecting, please bring your kid everywhere next year. That is my biggest ask. On a more practical level, sleep while you can. The sleep regression thing resolves for some people very quickly. I'm a big believer in transparency. Still has not for our family, so I haven't slept in like 8 months. So we'll get there. It's okay.
And Isabel, I just want to commend you so much for what you said a few weeks ago at the Ronald Reagan Airport with Secretary Duffy about making travel family friendly again. It was really refreshing to hear someone bring that perspective about just public transit and everything, and standing right there with a public official who can actually do something about making it more accessible, making the breastfeeding stations actually clean and work, and making the chargers work in these breastfeeding stations, and just all these things that we can do to create a more family-friendly environment in public. Like that was so refreshing to hear out loud.
Thank you. It was awesome to be there, and truly I think just really exciting to hear many people at the highest echelon of government talking about seemingly unimportant things, right? Things that nobody even thinks to talk about here in Washington, D.C. But to hear the Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK, say that breast milk has zero equivalency with formula. It is by far and away the greatest thing God ever gave us.
Absolutely.
Please feed your child from yourself. That's a beautiful thing, and we want to help nourish all of that for you and make it easier for you. And the Transportation Secretary saying, okay, tell me specifically what all of these problems are. How can we fix this? We want to hear from women across the country. Yes, all of these ideas. They were all ears for literally all of it. And I think we're just really about to see a turning point for the American family in all of the best ways possible.
And can I just say, before we move on from that, that was one of the weirdest outrage cycles I've ever
I
seen
know!
from the left, because they were like, oh, how dare they use my taxpayer dollars on moms? And I'm like, whoa. And then also when they were like, we're going to install gyms or like somewhere where you can get a quick workout, and they're like, ew, it's going to be stinky on the plane. And I'm like, do you not shower after you go to the gym? Like, what are you doing there? So that was really strange. I hope that we actually get gyms in airports, because that'd be so much fun.
I think saying that for years.
It just shows how anti-family the left is. Like, I think through all of this, even just with 2025 and now in 2026 wanting to be more pro-family, we have seen how anti-family the left truly is, whether it is like, you know, slamming Charlie Kirk after his assassination, or just attacking the pro-life movement for wanting to safeguard abortion, overturning Roe v. Wade happening the year prior. Like, so many great family wins, and the left has cheered for none of them.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which should tell you everything you need to know.
It does.
As enter a midterm year.
You need to know. Well, thinking about travel for the 250th anniversary, go ahead. If you are coming to Washington, D.C. for the 250th anniversary for July 4th, let us know. First, we want to know if you're going to be in the city. And then just as like a planner, make your travel plans now. I've already
Yesterday, really.
Yeah. I've already booked an Airbnb for my family, including my brand new niece, who will all be coming.
Awesome.
But like, guys, it is wild. Like, booking stuff it's already wild.
If you thought the inauguration was bad.
Oh, yeah.
Just
plan ahead,
everyone's going
people.
to celebrate you.
Well, also, it's nice weather in D.C. It's not freezing cold like inauguration.
Nice.
That's
I don't know. 4th of July is going to be
hot.
the opposite
hot.
end of the spectrum.
True.
But so worth it. So worth it. Absolutely.
We'll never see it
incredible.
again.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of big, I mean, obviously that is the biggest celebration. And if you want more specific info on everything that's going to be happening in DC that week, you can visit dc250.us. That has all the details, lots of tips and trips for travel and parking and all that jazz. But we have a lot of big things to celebrate this year. So we're starting off 2026 with the Winter Olympics.
I'm so excited.
Which I'm a big fan of.
I love the winter. Okay, what's everyone's favorite sport?
Ooh, in the winter or summer? Are we getting
Olympics.
specific? Any of the ski events, obviously.
gonna
I'm a
say
big skier, so I
same.
love that. Yeah.
Love
Ice
skiing.
skating, figure skating.
The figure skating is awesome. And hockey. I mean, how it's so iconic thinking about the 80s and everything, but hockey's always great at the Olympics too.
I love curling because I think it's so silly, and I love speed skating.
Ooh, I like
Me
that.
and my mom and sister were at the edge of our seats on our couch watching Apollo Ono in 2008. I've never forgotten that. Like, that was one of the peaks of my childhood, just watching the Winter Olympics with my family.
I thought you were going to
watching
say
him.
your family, that you all were speed skaters, and I was going to be like, tell me more at least.
Do I look like a speed skater?
I don't know. You could be.
You do look like you could pull off those iconic Ralph Lauren uniforms, though. I'll tell you that.
They are so chic and stunning.
They're
I love
so
them.
good.
Well, after the Winter Olympics, then we're moving on to the World Cup. I'm not a soccer fan, but for all our soccer
My
fans
husband
out
is
there,
freaking out. Truly, he played Division I soccer, and he's
Okay.
Are
like,
you guys gonna go?
I'm sure we'll be at like all of it. He's so excited. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo was at the White House a few weeks ago, and he got the chance to bring him around the complex, which was very, very cool. We have a new signed jersey in our house, which is awesome. But literally, all this man talks about like 24/7 is the World Cup, and I think a lot of people are getting weirdly really excited about soccer. Now, apparently, the president is confirming that he's okay with renaming it football in America. So we'll see. We'll see how all of that
America
goes.
first,
Very
Donald Trump.
controversial indeed. But I think it's fun for people to fall in love with a sport that hasn't necessarily been the forefront of our culture, but certainly is the most popular sport everywhere else in the world.
I predict a trend in clothing to have like Adidas Sambas make another resurgence, and like
That's good.
like the jerseys.
Remember
Yeah.
these receipts,
Yeah, remember.
everyone.
all right. Well, I didn't realize till I looked it up, but it's happening across 16 different cities in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada.
It's huge.
Like,
It's massive.
Huge. Really, really big. And then after July 4th, we are sort of ending the year with midterm elections.
And aren't there like 37 gubernatorial
Something
races
like
this
that.
year or something insane?
27.
I'm not ready, to be honest.
Let's just slip Virginia back in there.
We're all a
Maybe they'll
little on the
forget.
edge of our seats already about election night.
Stay tuned. My husband's a pollster, so I'll be able to give you the inside news.
Ooh, lots of insider info.
We'll go live.
Yeah. Wow.
Can't do that probably.
Wow.
It's also the 100th anniversary of the Macy's Day Parade next year.
really?
Yep.
Oh.
Somebody said that this year while I was watching it with my daughter, and I thought that's going to be fun
What
for
is-
how do you
2026.
What is Mayor Mamdani going to do to commemorate that?
Oh, gosh.
Who knows? At this point.
Sharia law.
Burkas coming to your
Burkas.
floats
Everywhere
next.
burqa.
Yeah.
You're going to have a big Snoopy in a burqa.
Oh my gosh. that
shouldn't be
visual.
That's terrible.
About it.
Well, we want to hear your both goals and predictions for 2026. So we will have some fun questions up on Instagram. So be sure to check out the Problematic Women Instagram. But y'all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! I can't believe it's already 2026.
I know. It's going to be a great year.
Yes, it is.
Here we go. And if you want to make your year even greater, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any of the 2026 Problematic Women episodes. We have some fun and exciting announcements coming in the next weeks, months. So stay tuned for lots from Problematic Women in 2026. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Yay!
Year.
Cheers, everybody. Woohoo!